Hey friends, welcome back to our channel. We are so glad that you made it for
our video on communication and marriage. So we are on day 4 now, and as we mentioned in some of the other videos, kind of the basis of this, or the backbone, is using the Bible app that talked about this communication and marriage. So it kind of sparked our interest, like, hey, let's share this, let's do it online, kind of on the fly type of thing. And today we've talked a lot in the past about verbal communication, how we can either build each other up, we can tear each other down, and today we're going to focus on the nonverbal things we can do, because we can do a lot without speaking. So we're going to dive into some of that today.
Yeah, so with the nonverbal communication, so they have a challenge out there you can find in the Awesome Communication and Marriage app in the Bible app, or it's a plan in the Bible app. And so it says that to talk to each other, to talk to your spouse about nonverbal communication that each other do without being defensive or dishonest, like just owning up to whatever that is, or self-reflecting and trying to be open-minded and just looking within yourself and see how each other can, correct those things and always be better at communicating, even the nonverbals.
Yeah, I feel like it's easier to be defensive about this because with the verbal, it's like, hey, I said that, we know I said that, and it's easy to pin it on either spouse member. With the nonverbals, it's almost like we take it more personally because it's like, no, I wasn't making that face, I wasn't doing that type of thing. So it's easier to be defensive and kind of get your feelings hurt, because nonverbals can also not necessarily come across as what we're truly feeling sometimes. So we have to be kind of aware of, like, how are we outwardly expressing ourselves? Because for me, I know personally, sometimes the way I'm outwardly expressing or checking out or doing these things isn't necessarily always how I'm feeling internally. And sometimes there is a portion of that as well where maybe I'm not self-aware of that. So it's been good for me to kind of reflect on some of these nonverbal cues that I have done to realize, like, okay, how am I coming across and how can I do better?
Yeah, because when we were analyzing it together, like, even for myself, it's you can get caught up in whatever you're talking about and not even realize yourself. So it was actually kind of fun for us to kind of like lay them out. We're like, what? I do that? And we're like, yeah. So that was fun, and also it's good to be able to just like I said, self-reflect so that we can make things better, because the goal is to have good communication in your marriage where both partners are happy and feel loved and feel valued and feel heard. And so we're going to get into this about the nonverbals. So what does it look like to be loving in your tone of voice? These are some of the questions that are asked in that plan. What does it look like to be loving with your facial expressions, with your body expressions, with your nonverbal? So all these things are things that add to that nonverbal communication. So we wrote down some for fun, and one of the rules that we made is like no pointing fingers, be understanding, be open-minded, and self-reflect, because the goal is not to like be like you so then it like creates an argument, or so that your challenge or your homework and trying to make things better turns into just like picking on each other. That's not the goal here. The goal is to try to help each other, be loving, and anyway, so we're like your guinea pigs. We decided to just throw down some about ourselves or about each other, and so we'll just read them for fun.
So let's start with the scripture, because anytime we talk about touchy things, potentially it's always good to have that anchor with the Lord. So in Psalms 19:14 it says, "May these words of my mouth and this meditation of my heart be pleasing in your sight, Lord, my rock and my redeemer." Again, it just goes along with no pointing fingers and doing those things. And that's what communication is. It's like, it's good to healthily communicate, and sometimes you can make fun of it and make fun with it, and that's okay too.
It's only okay if both partners are okay with that. Adam and I, we before the video just listed a bunch. We've just been laughing because it's just like funny, the stuff we came up with. But if this is a conversation, you have to fill the room with your partner and just match whatever, they're feeling, because this can be a very sensitive topic as well. So, yeah. All right, so we will start with Adam. my what I've noticed about Adam and his nonverbals. So, Adam, sometimes you can be detached or withdrawn from the conversation with your nonverbal.
Yes, definitely. I feel like this is probably one of my biggest ones where sometimes I kind of check out. Especially with emotional things, I feel like I have like a limit where I do pretty good for a while, and then once I've reached that limit, which tends to be less than what Amber can handle emotionally, then I sometimes check out and kind of withdraw a little bit because of that.
Kind of feel like overwhelmed.
Yeah, definitely.
And then this one's my favorite one. One of Adam's nonverbal are flustered eyebrows. So his eyebrows get super flustered and like make emotions at me, like I'm trying to talk to him, his eyebrows are just like all activated,
I would show you, but I probably have to be in the moment. I'm not sure how to activate those on demand.
Super flustered eyebrows.
So.
Wait, I'm not done. We're still doing mine.
No, I get two now.
Okay.
So I have noticed piercing eyeballs that can like see right through you, pierce through your soul. You don't want to be in that place.
Like a laser.
Yes.
Pierce through your soul.
But it's more like an intensity where it's just very passionate eyeballs.
Passionate eyeballs
that have lasers behind them.
Yes.
But
this happens. This is a thing.
Yes, and if you combine that with the crossing arms, then I'm gonna listen at that point. I am not gonna detach.
Laser eyeballs and crossed arms. Okay. And then another one is that sometimes you will walk away from the conversation. So that's a nonverbal, like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Peace.
And again, I mean, all these things can be nonverbal, but if you combine it with something like, hey, I'm overwhelmed, can we talk about this later? Something like that, obviously, would be an okay situation for that. So obviously, we're not going to name every single nonverbal. There's so many. We all have our own personal ones. But these are kind of little things that we're like, hey, let's pick 4 that we know we do that we can work on.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where this all came about. So your number 3 is a blank face stare. So
Now I have to try to do it without smiling. You have to show me one.
Blank face.
It's just like this. Like no emotion.
Solemn, yeah.
Like a stone. It's like stone.
It's hard to describe.
I feel like we need to take pictures of each other when we're in the action so that we can show each other and be like, see, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that would go really well.
I think it would.
I'm gonna take a picture.
I think it would go well. Maybe you have to do it sneakily.
Alright, so what's my last one?
Okay, get distracted or like create distractions because you just are like, oh, emotional. Ugh. Oh, suddenly I need to something. Suddenly I need to go do this. Suddenly I need to just bail from this car. So basically it's like flight. I need a flight.
I need to go clean the entire bathroom with a toothbrush.
I gotta go. I gotta do anything. I gotta do anything but be in this emotional conversation.
Yes.
That's not always though. I feel like you do that less. I mean, yeah, we've been married for like 16 years, but yeah, sometimes it happens.
And yours, last one is the arm frenzy. Get very.
So he's saying like I get arm frenzies. So like when I'm talking, just like my hands, they're just like, you know, very talkative hands. Maybe this, you, this.
Yeah, add the finger in there.
Juggling. What else do my hands do?
I don't know, because they're also
My
it's also a good
arms
thing.
do not do that much. I'm gonna have to reject this one.
They may or may not.
I think I do this one more.
Yes.
But maybe sometimes I've got it flustered like this.
I think it comes from being a mom, like with the kids. Like, all right.
Yeah. Now I need you to videotape me so I can see all this. I'm sure I do. I always talk with my hands, so I would not. See? I always talk with my hands, so I wouldn't doubt it.
What do I do with my hands?
So I'm sure my hands are flying everywhere. Would not doubt that.
But anyway, tonight's kind of little lesson is kind of short. This is kind of just the basis of it is just talking about different nonverbal cues, nonverbal things that we can do to better communicate. And obviously we talked about some flaws, but there's a lot of good things.
Yeah, there's
and
good nonverbals
and stuff as well. So we need to incorporate these. They're not even all negative, but these things that we can work on and make them good things.
The flustered eyebrows, I do believe.
I can definitely make that a good thing.
That
like,
one's definitely, yeah.
We'll work on that.
We'll see.
We're on YouTube right now.
So we'll see. But yeah, so I think that's right, Adam. Like there's also there's also positive nonverbals, you know, just like eye contact and like a nice touch and just like when your spouse comes home and being welcoming and just like a hug or just being inviting with your energy or smiling. Like honestly, that's probably one of the biggest ones I think that really would help in marriage is smiling. Just like when your spouse comes home, like just like I know that sometimes it can be a stressful day. If you have children, you have a lot going on. So sometimes we'll wear it on our face. Maybe that's where that blank stare comes in. Definitely. Sometimes my face is like, I can't even make an expression if I wanted to. The kids stole my energy to even use my face muscles. So I think that that's when we need to like, you know, take a moment to like remember that, you know, let's leave what's going on in the day kind of aside. You know, it doesn't necessarily like mean be fake, but to smile and just receive your spouse well. So that when you meet after being apart in the day, that it's like a warm welcoming and that it's inviting and it's like, how was your day going? And gestures are just like sweet and gentle and not like leaning away or seeming stiff or frustrated, you know?
Yeah, I think it's also good because life gets stressful and busy with, you got work and kids and stresses and all these things. But to kind of maybe at least like that first meeting up, that first impression, and be like, hey, have it be a good one. And you can still talk about those things. Those things are still real life. You're still going to have goods and bads and highs and lows. But if you start that initial like, hey, I'm home, we're just seeing each other with a positive note, and then you can lead on from that. Because if it starts off with stress, it starts off with the chaos, then it kind of builds this like momentum from that where it just kind of builds upon itself bigger and bigger and bigger. So we challenge you all to lean into nonverbal communication, what you do good, what you do bad, and what you can do better. Yeah,
and I think it definitely is really important to lift each other up and speak life into each other, have positive words of encouragement, because definitely like wouldn't want to just list all the negative things and then leave it at that. So I think that, Adam, some really positive traits that you have for nonverbal is that your gentle touch. Like you're really good at a gentle touch and just kind of showing with it, like your hand, just like a sweet gesture of like, hey, you know, and I feel like you will come home like joyful and you know, like you have a sense of like, oh, what are we gonna do? Or like, I don't know, your energy I feel like is comfortable, that I feel comfortable to be around you.
So you're saying I like to party?
Maybe.
I bring the fun.
Yes, you definitely do.
Well, I accept all that. Thank you. And you as well have the best hugs.
Oh, thanks.
Very good hugs. And just make me feel valued. So you're very good at making me feel important and valued and needed. So I appreciate that.
Oh, good.
But anyway,
But what's a nonverbal? It has to be nonverbal. How about when I smile and I laugh? Is that a good nonverbal? I do laugh a lot.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you guys next week.
All right, bye guys.
Happiness, always one step ahead. Only if we could understand instead. Look at each other from inside out, giving each other a chance to connect, retiring our minds from judgment and assumptions. Love first with mind aside. To judge is to be without heart. Many tears stream down our faces when the lights dim out a needle and thread lay beside one's bed, anticipating a broken heart needing to be stitched up.
Love first, all thoughts aside. To love is to live. To live is to give our heart while the arrows pierce through your skin. This thing we call marriage isn't always a win. Humble thyself and give it to God. With God's lenses, you will see through the fog. I know it hurts. I feel your pain. Give it to God and watch your marriage gain. God is the key. Just take a bend to the knee and you'll see restoration, renewal, and reward is your gift from the Lord. Lay down your struggles and pick up your sword. Battle begins now. Let God protect your vow.